Wow, good. I think you're like, what is the Bear Sound? What is? Oh, yeah, I was there.
Being on recon, we got a lot of ships. Yeah. We went on we tracked a little together. Show County or Washington County. I know you're familiar with them.
You've been such a crowd.
I've ran through. We spent it and we live on well, you know. We're going down suits. Yeah. They have 30,000. Yeah. You remember? I saw me. They're real. Gary had around, she goes, you're going back here. You think I'll do it? Especially when we got the Marines there too. I keep getting one sitting down. You're right too. I was Air Force. So no jokes. Thanks for your service. What are you doing? I wasn't so sad, but there too. I got.
Barbie. You're the secretary.
Yes.
RV. That's Jeff. Yeah, Jeff, he does.
How's it going?
Boy, I sure did need you. 2 weeks. AT&T messed me up.
Uh-oh.
Come out, the internet back up. The only place where I live is Liverpool. Yeah. And it's all Spectrum. So I got Spectrum to come out yesterday. That was a little worried because they had no call that said Spectrum and they were going to change.
Yeah, we're on government farm and so.
You're on
We're
what?
on government farm roads, but
Oh, okay.
yeah, we've
I'm
got
way on the
spectrum.
other side.
Yeah, we got spectrum fiber, yeah.
It's, they lay it, they're gonna have to come back and lay it on, lay it around.
Yeah.
So they got-
Yeah, there's another group that comes through here, so, yeah, that's.
But we really,
Yeah, that's why we have these little tables, and I was telling you, you needed a rolling table.
yeah, we do.
Hey, girl.
I did, you know, I'm running.
I know.
I need to be told.
What was that guy's name that sent me a message? There was some guy that really needed this.
That's why I was telling you, if you needed.
Yes,
you
you're right.
Push it to the middle.
Okay, so I need you to help me move all my parts.
Okay, so all the parts need to go?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, at least enough to get the camera over there.
Yeah.
So probably good to have the, shoot, that's not good. It's off the meeting. Okay. How close can you get? Can you?
Well, I mean,
Watch the camera, watch the camera, watch the
well, as
camera
long
on the
as your
computer.
cords can go.
Yeah, that's the problem. We just. All right, let's try again.
I mean, it's just, like I said, it's gonna be as long as your,
Okay, that's good. Good enough right here.
Okay,
That's good
yeah.
enough right here. Pull back.
and then
pull
we
back,
could
pull back.
sit right here. And you can run it, you know what I mean?
Okay. This is a,
Yeah, you can sit right there and run
it's
it.
a PI lawyer's dream come true right here.
I'm running.
Like I said, you can sit right there, and then I'll just kinda
Hold up.
watch.
No.
Okay. Well, I'm trying to get it together, so.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, now we're good.
You're ready?
We're ready.
We don't want to start for, you're ready. Okay.
We are recording.
Okay, if everybody wants to take a seat, then we'll go ahead and get started. We're just a little bit late, trying to get finished by 12. Glad y'all are all here. Take pictures from
Yeah, we probably should take some pictures.
Check seven.
How's it going? Good to see you again. Y'all doing all right? Excellent. Hey, Val, how you doing? Good to see
We're
you.
getting started. Welcome to Polk County Republican Party. We're glad you're all here. We're gonna go ahead and, get this party started. So if we could have James Lyons, if you'll start us out with a word of prayer.
Our Father in heaven, we give thee glory and thank you for another opportunity to come together before you. We live in the greatest nation that has ever been in modern history, God, and perhaps the greatest empire that ever will be. We ask, God, that you pour your spirit out on us, that you forgive us of our failures, that you guide our leaders and the people that seek to lead us, that you help us, God, to do that which is your will and not our will. Keep and preserve our republic, and let thy blessings ever shine upon the United States of America, the state of Georgia and Polk County. This we pray in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
And if you'll all stand, we'll say the pledge.
Would everyone face the flag, please? Pledge allegiance
To the flag.
States.
The United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, wanted to remind everyone, we've got to get everybody out to vote. And we have 2 elections that we have coming up. We've got to get people out on April the 7th. And then they all got to start all over again and get ready for May. And so everybody here, we need your help to get out the vote. And we've got a sign-in sheet back there. If you would, just write down your information so we can get in touch with you and let you know when we have those get out the vote times that we need to get together so that you can help us spread the word, okay? But today we're going to have our featured speaker, Clay Fuller, and I'm going to let him speak, and then he's going to open up for questions. Do you have any questions? So, Clay?
Well, thank you so much for taking the time out of y'all's busy Saturday to be here with me. I know many of you know my background, but if you don't, from the probably 30,000 mailers that we hit in your mailbox, so I apologize for all of that. We want to make sure that we're getting the necessary message saturation, but kind of give you a little bit about my background. So I was a college basketball player, was captain of Emory University's basketball team in the early 2000s. I'm excited to report And I say, my name is Clay Fuller. I'm in the Air Force, and all the Marines are like, oh my gosh, an Air Force officer, right? And so they try to redeem it at one point and say, okay, well, tell me what you fly. I was like, woof, about that. I fly a desk. I'm a lawyer. But there was a multi-year course, and when I was going through that course, it was when I got my cancer diagnosis. So I was diagnosed with cancer at 31 while I was on active duty, and went through an incredibly tough surgery and ICU stay at Walter Reed. And I feel like I got the best compliment after recovering from cancer and going back to that course that a Marine could ever give anybody. I show up to the course, and one of those guys that was in my initial meeting when the course started and was skeptical of me, just walked up to me, shook my hand and said, "I'm glad you're above ground." So I feel like that's a really good compliment from a Marine to an Air Force officer. But I loved my military career. When I was in the ICU, so my wife stayed there the entire 2 weeks in a recliner. I tell people I'm quite literally alive because of everything that my wife did during that time period that I was sick. And we talked about if God was going to give me more time to be on this planet, how did I want to use it? Because I really felt like God was giving me additional time that I didn't necessarily deserve. And that was really my start of my born again life, to dedicate whatever time period God gave me after that. I grew up in the church, but an experience like that really focuses you on what God is calling you to do. And Kate and I talked about what we were seeing in North Georgia, especially with my generation being kind of decimated by the methamphetamine and opioid crisis. So I didn't know where I could have a positive impact on that, but wanted to come and do something about that and work on that. So I came back in 2015, and that's when I started prosecuting cases in the Lookout Mountain Judicial Circuit. And I was really good at putting drug traffickers away, rapists, murderers. It was something that I loved. You may see an ad out there from Sean Harris, which is a complete lie and fabrication about my career. One of the cases that I made my early part of the career is the individual's name was James Works. Not to be too graphic, but he was raping women in Northwest Georgia and Chattanooga for almost 3 decades. And he was somehow continuing to get away with it. The cases would fall apart because his whole MO was to target vulnerable women in our community, namely women that had substance abuse problems. And those are traditionally victims who are very skeptical of the criminal justice system, and it's very difficult to get them to come in and testify. So I started with the DA's office in 2015 and inherited a case against James Works. And my job, again, there were about 8 to 10 victims over the 3 decades that I had to build a relationship with, who were completely skeptical of the criminal justice system. And I sat down with all of them to build rapport, to get their trust, to make sure that they felt comfortable coming in and testifying, because they were legitimately afraid of this individual. They felt like the criminal justice system, if they put the risk to come and testify against this individual, we better get a guilty verdict. So I was able to finally talk to these women. The main charged victim, she kept going back to this individual, and she was just completely in his grasp. And it's very difficult to prosecute a rape case when your victim goes back to the defendant. And so it took me a couple of years to get all of these women in, to talk to them and convince them and get them into the courtroom. It took me about a year to find my charged victim, to track her down the case into a courtroom in March of 2018. And it was a week-long trial. We had all of these women were so courageous and taking the stand. And I had 2 detectives who were some of the best detectives that I ever worked for, that created a just lockdown case. And my job at that point was just to make sure I kept it on the rails and presented it and make sure that the victims testified. And at the end of the case, we were able to get a conviction. And I brought all these women into the room after the conviction. And one of the victims just was sitting there and just threw up. And I told her I'd seen tears of joy before, but I've never seen throw up of joy. And these are people who I've stayed in touch with since 2018. And we talk about when my opponent has a tagline like leadership matters. It frustrates me to see someone who says that and is out there lying about my career and re-victimizing these women, because that person is going to spend the rest of their life in jail, not only because of the work that I did and the detectives, but because of the courage of these women. And they shouldn't be, their most difficult parts of their life should be being dragged up into a political campaign. But I'm very proud of that case. And at that moment, I had applied to go and work for the Trump administration. When I was telling you that one of the victims threw up, that was about 4:30 on a Friday, and I hadn't checked my email the entire time. So I ran down to my computer just to run through the email that I had. And there was an email from the White House that said, hey, if you want to come and work for the Trump administration, we need to hear from you by close of business. So I fired off a quick email, said, yes, I would like to go and work for President Trump. Can I do an interview? And the interview process was you were interviewing for 14 positions in this program called the White House Fellows Program. And they were bringing about 30 people up to Washington, D.C. And when I get up there, the first person that I meet is a guy that went to MIT at 15. I did not go to MIT at 15. And then the next person that I met, I drove up there. So I figured I probably had the longest travel time of anybody that was going up for an interview. And when I got up there, I met another individual and I asked him where he's coming in from. And he said, Afghanistan. I was like, okay, well, you win. He said, well, what took you to Afghanistan? And I was like, well, I'm a Navy SEAL. Like, zero shot at this. I went to MIT at 15 and a Navy SEAL, so I've got no chance. But went in there and told my story, that I was a cancer survivor and that I was doing everything I can to end the methamphetamine and opioid crisis. That was my white whale that I was fighting each and every day. And I incredibly got selected to be a Trump appointee. And one of my favorite stories out of that year with President Trump. So there was one person that I worked for in particular. His name was is Ambassador Robert O'Brien. He was the last national security advisor for President Trump in the first Trump administration. But when I worked for him, he was the lead hostage negotiator. So I don't know if y'all remember, there was a pastor that was in jail in Turkey. He was the main person that got that pastor out, and that was his job. And so one of the things that he wanted to do, because when Americans are taken hostage, it's our special operators who are often part of the recovery efforts to rescue people. And so he wanted to see special operations programs across the world. They asked me to plan a trip to West Africa. In particular, they wanted to go to a country called Mali, and I had no idea. I Googled Mali, M-O-L-L-Y. That's not how it's spelled, it's M-A-L-I. I knew nothing about West Africa or the country of Mali. But when I was looking up information about the country, I saw that Timbuktu was there. And so I went to my bosses and Ambassador O'Brien and just asked them, hey, would y'all be interested in going to Timbuktu? And they asked me, is there a reason that we would go to Timbuktu? I need to justify this trip. I found out that there is a UN mission that's in Timbuktu. And part of the work that they do is trying to make sure that they're recovering foreign nationals. It's kind of like there will be an Italian who will decide they're going to take a bike trip through West Africa, and then they'll be kidnapped by a terrorist organization that's there. So please don't ever take a bike trip through West Africa. I don't recommend it. But so there was a mission related reason to go, plan the trip. The only problem was how to get there. So the country of Mali, you kind of think of it almost like the shape of New Jersey. And you have the capital, Bamako, down at the bottom of the country. And then you have a Texas-sized portion of the country in the middle, which is completely ungoverned and ruled by terrorist organizations. So we definitely had to fly over that. And I was lucky enough to find a Canadian C-130 mission out of Senegal. They needed training hours. And there was one request that they made was, if I could get them a bottle of Jack Daniels, they would definitely take us up there. And so the important question that I had for them was, are y'all using the bottle of Jack Daniels before or after the flight? They promised me it would be after. So I was able to get them that bottle. We flew into Timbuktu. And so I try to tell people the Trump White House and Ambassador O'Brien took me from Timbuktu to back. It was an incredible experience working for President Trump for a year. And one of the full circle moments in this campaign, Ambassador O'Brien was one of the first people to endorse me in this race. And it meant the world to me because he's someone that I look up to, someone who has really worked hard to make sure that we define President Trump's peace through strength, national security policy, and he's done an incredible job doing it. And he gave me one warning after President Trump endorsed our campaign. He called me up and said, "Hey, do you know who the last person that I endorsed was?" I said, I'm sorry, I don't. And I was like, "I've only endorsed two people. I've endorsed you and I've endorsed JD Vance." And so it's like, well, that's a good sign, I feel like, he's not a pretty good hat, even though he's a Marine. So just a lesser surface. But one of the things that I really want to try to tell groups is my heart and why I'm in this race. I don't care about becoming a social media star. I don't care about being famous. I don't care about having a title or being powerful or anything like that. As you saw with that James Works case, the only thing that I've ever cared about in my career is righting wrongs and righting wrongs for the most powerless in our community. And the final story that I'll give you is kind of related to that mission of why I'm in this race, because the bottom line is, if God calls me home in 24 hours, I want to go up there and say, that extra time that you gave me, I did everything I could for what I think you left me there to do, to improve North Georgia, to improve the communities that I love. And that's something that I wake up each and every day thinking about. And each and every day that hopefully it's in God's plan for me to represent you in Congress. That's the only thing that I'm going to be asking. I'm going to be reaching out to community leaders like Linda, asking, what do you need? How can I help? What can I do? Because I want these communities across Northwest Georgia to have long-term economic viability. And I want to do everything I can to make sure that we are developing in the way that we want to as a community. So I'm going to be a warrior for you when I'm in that position and doing everything I can to help communities and help you personally. And the personal story that I tell, President Trump came down to Rome just recently to support our campaign. And during that time period, so I've kind of told people this a couple of times, but I wish my wife was here so y'all could meet her. She's the most incredible person on the planet. She's my favorite human being. And when you meet her, most people are like, she's the one that should be running, not you. I agree with it. But I don't know for you and spouses, I'm sure y'all have all had that moment where you looked at your spouse and you could tell your spouse was going to do something, and the spouse gives you that look like whatever you're thinking about, don't do. So the way that the White House operates is they kind of give you what you want to say and what you're supposed to say, and then kind of the timeline to do it. So I did that for the first part of the Trump event, and I sat down. And I wasn't expecting President Trump was going to call me back up a second time. And it's always a dangerous thing to give a prosecutor a second chance to speak. And I was walking up to the stage and I could see my wife just giving me that look like, whatever you're thinking of, do not do. Don't do it. But what I learned when I was heading to this event, my 15-year-old daughter, I wanted my family to be there to see it, because this was an incredible moment for me personally and for our family. And it was a historical moment. It's the greatest president in our nation's history, in my opinion. I wanted them to see this historical event. And so I'm going up there, and my daughter had gotten detention for coming to this event. And I thought that was wrong. And so I go up there, and first I turn to President Trump and I tell him, the endorsement that you gave me is the honor of my lifetime. But I've got one more favor to ask, and you can watch the video. You'll see his face like, oh my gosh, what is this idiot about to do? I might just take back an endorsement right now. And I turn to him and say, look, my beautiful daughter, Tallulah, she's here, and she got detention for coming to see you. And you can kind of see his face change. He starts to laugh. I said, if you could do me one more favor, is just give my daughter a presidential pardon. A couple of things from that interaction too. The Steele corporate, where he's given the address, it was really hot in there. He'd probably been speaking for about 60 minutes at that point. He's nearly 80 years old, and he has just boundless energy. And he turns to me when I'm walking off stage to ask my daughter's name. And, it's an unusual name. It's Tallulah. I think it's a beautiful name. And as I'm walking off, I'm like, there's no way he heard that or got that. And he turns right to the microphone, gets up there, and it goes, Tallulah, where's Tallulah? And, my daughter stands up and he gives her full presidential pardon right there and says, tell your teacher I said it's okay. And I think that's something that's lost about our president. Just first, how genuinely funny he is, how much he cares about people, and just the absolute humanity of this person who is in the most stressful job in the world, how he can take a moment just to have this beautiful interaction for my family. And the thing that I try to present to groups is to tell them this, what I did is no different than what I will do for each and every one of you. I care, I obviously love my daughter. I'm going to care about each and every one of you. I'm going to care about these communities. And it doesn't matter how trivial the problem is or the issue is. As trivial as it is for my 14-year-old daughter to get detention, I will fight for each and every one of you and as the most powerful man in the world to fix a wrong as I see it. That's what that story stands for. And if any of y'all ever need anything, you will be able to get in contact with me and I'll do everything I can in my power to fix it, because that is the only reason that I'm in this race, is to make your lives better, to make your community better. And I'm asking for each and every one of you to get out there on April 7th, tell all of your friends, all of your network. I know during this weekend, maybe some of y'all will watch March Madness. So during a commercial, try to text 10, 15 people, tell them, hey, reminder, early voting starts on Monday, get out there and vote. Because the stakes are extremely high. The mask on Sean Harris has finally come on off a little bit. There are a lot of people that had no idea that he was a Democrat, but he's a Democrat that's going to take your guns. He's a Democrat that is going to be pro-choice and wants to see more abortions. He's going to be a Democrat that wants to be involved, getting government involved in your life, make it more difficult for your money to come back to your pocketbook. And there's no better image than what we saw during President Trump's State of the Union. Do y'all remember what the Democrats sat in their chairs for?
Yeah.
Besides just the basic question of saying, can y'all stand for putting Americans first before illegal immigrants? It breaks my heart what we're seeing. We saw an Air Force veteran who was just murdered by an illegal immigrant in New York City. We saw Sheridan Gorman, who was just murdered in Chicago by an illegal immigrant. That's who Sean Harris and the Democrats are putting first. Those are the stakes. So I want y'all to get that message out, because we have to stay motivated. We have to get out there and vote on April 7th. And then you'll have to come back and continue to win this on May 19th. So just please make sure y'all are getting that message out to people, because I know it can be very confusing. But we've got to start motivating people and making sure that they have a plan, because also, I don't know if it's true for Polk County, but does Polk have spring break on April 7th?
That's what I heard.
They do? Okay. I know it's true for Paulding. I know it's true for Cobb and Floyd as well. So there may be a number of people in Polk County who just won't get to it this week and will then head off to spring break. So just please, all of those people in your life, reach out to them, say, hey, if you're heading to Florida on April 7th, that's great. But just make a plan this next week to go and early vote. And remember, you should rightly be focused on the Easter holiday, but Good Friday is Friday. So there's only 4 early voting days. So we can't get complacent. We can kind of get complacent sometimes when President Trump isn't on the ballot. So just please make sure you're reaching out to all your friends and family to make sure we're getting out that vote on April 7th. And we're going to go out and win this thing. And then I'm going to fight for you each and every day on Capitol Hill. So happy to take any questions that you have, and look forward to representing you here soon on Capitol Hill. So thank you.
I'll start out with a question. By the way, you have a beautiful family and you have beautiful children, and I know you want a future for them. And when I look at our federal deficit, it looks, honestly, what's the plan? Like, it looks like we're going to default.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, first up, we have to be honest that the debt is an existential long-term crisis. We have to be honest and truthful about that. And there's a lot of education that we have to do regarding the threat that's going to pose long-term for the future of our kids and our communities. So we just have to be honest about that from the outset. The second part is, there have been so many questions during this campaign. Are you going to be able to work across the aisle? And I kind of laugh at the question, because is there an across the aisle to work with? And you look at again, just what we saw during the State of the Union address, but then you take something just as simple as, hey, we are in a war against Iran. We've seen increased numbers of terrorist attacks in our nation over the last few weeks. And the Democrats aren't even willing to fund Homeland Security, the agency that was created to make sure our homeland is safe from terrorist attacks. And they'd rather have all of us in 8-hour lines at the airport than to again protect illegal immigrants, because it's a fight over ICE and illegal immigration. They'd rather do that than fund the agency that's required to protect us. The third thing that I'd offer is the SAVE Act.
Yeah.
This is an 80-20 issue across the nation. For those of you that don't know, the SAVE Act is legislation that would have you require that you be an American citizen to vote, something that everyone supports. And it would require you to have an ID. I kind of laugh because I've seen, I think, John Ossoff has maybe had events where you had to show an ID to get into, but they don't want you to have an ID to go in and vote. And this is an 80-20 issue. Republicans, Democrats supported 80-20, and Democrats won't vote for it. There were 0 Democrat votes on the One Big Beautiful Bill, which brought more money back into your pocket by no taxes on tips, no taxes on overtime, no tax on Social Security. I don't know if there's an other side to work with, first off. So I would say probably at this point, you're looking at the Falcons jersey. And I think I might have talked about this before. My first Falcons game ended with a Hail Mary victory over the 49ers, thrown by Billy Joe Tolliver, if any of y'all remember that name. And we might be at the point where it's Hail Mary time. I think we have to talk about the Article 5 Convention of the States. I have to really think through any sort of the risks that may be associated with doing it. But to fix that existential crisis, that may be the only option that we have at this point. So, yeah.
I got a quick one.
Yes, sir.
My mother represents and works with like mostly farmers in this county and a lot of them in the state of Georgia. And she goes to the Capitol and fights for, you know, all the farming and whatever. She knows more than I do. My and her question is, out of all these meetings she goes to, with the farmers, we were talking about it the other day, she said, you know, she said, this Harris guy, nobody ever heard anything about him until he started running for this office. He claims to be a farmer. She said, we don't know him.
Yeah.
And all the farmers that she talks to and speaks with, they're like, you know, where's this farmer?
Yeah.
What does he do?
Yeah.
So, well, pretty,
Yeah, no, absolutely. And those are things, I don't know if you're on social media, raise those questions. I completely agree. So, no, I've been in this community fighting in courtrooms my entire career, making sure we're putting the worst criminals away. I've been on the front lines of this community trying to improve it. So if people in the agricultural industry and in farming are saying they don't know who this guy is, then I think it's definitely something people should be talking about. Yeah.
He's lied about one thing, was he?
Yeah.
Now, I have heard that the cows in his video were not his. I'm not accusing him of being a cattle thief or anything like that, but I have heard those cows were not his.
Yeah. They were registered Republicans, is that? Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Oh, sorry, I got behind you. I'll come back to you. Yep, sorry about that.
This might be too like niche of a question, but with the SAVE Act.
Yep.
So I've read the bill. I understand that as a married woman, my voting abilities are not at risk. I have all the documents in case I do need them, but even without them, I realize that that's not really risk. I have searched to try to find a sitting Republican actually explaining that when it says documents compliant with the Real ID process, that includes marriage licenses.
Yeah.
Could you make a video explaining that, or could you ask somebody else? I mean, I don't understand. I feel like that's like their biggest sticking point right now, and they continue to focus on that. It's embarrassing as a woman.
Yes.
To continue to see this from educated women pushing this, knowing that there's even a clause in there, if you don't have their documentation, you can still be approved
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like they've covered everything in that bill. But for some reason, I don't know if it's because it's the legalese or what, like, it's not being communicated, and I have not seen any conservative besides Caroline Levitt halfway try to explain it.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
I feel like there's nobody
yeah.
actually trying to explain why this bill does not put married women at risk. They're just saying that it doesn't, and that kind of comes off as like, kind of like we'll let you know what it says once we pass it. Like, that kind of, I'm kind of getting that same vibe, even though that's not what it is.
Yeah.
That's just a recommendation from me. I feel like somebody actually who's in the process, explaining it on a video in very simple language. I would share that all over the place.
Okay.
Maybe somebody would understand it, because I'm just so frustrated with that being the problem. It's not even a problem. I don't understand why people, why they can't read it. I feel like it's spelled out. It's not even a question of could we change the bill's language to delineate, just because like it spells it out properly already.
Yeah.
We already have it in Georgia, so.
Yeah, absolutely. And just so you know, that's actually, when you're in a closing argument as a prosecutor, there are things that you never want to take for granted that your jury will understand. Basic things from, we've all heard the term beyond reasonable doubt. But sometimes you have to explain that thoroughly to a jury, just to make sure that once they get in that deliberation room, they have an understanding of what their job is and what it means. So I spent my entire career kind of taking complex terms that people have a general understanding of, and then giving them examples to make sure that they have an understanding of how to apply it in the situation that they have. So I think that's probably a pretty easy video to make, and it's just kind of shocking to even feel like we have to do it. But honestly, with the other side, we actually, in that video, I'll have to define what a woman is,
Yeah. Right.
which
Hopefully you can do that.
pretty sure I can. The other side may disagree with my definition of that, but that's the bizarre world that we're in. But no, I think you're exactly right. And that's part of their strategy, is just create confusion and chaos on basic understandings of legislation.
Somebody like Hillary Clinton, who's Yale educated, then if you don't have a side and you're seeing somebody that went to Yale of all places, like, you're gonna assume that they know the law and they understand how to read a bill.
Yep.
So if she's telling you that this bill doesn't say you can use a marriage certificate, then
Yep.
you're gonna assume that she knows what she's talking about.
Sure, yeah.
So if people don't take that extra step, then I can absolutely understand why so many women are concerned, and I feel like they're saying so much about it, and nobody, they're all, that's not the problem if they're not really explaining.
No, you're right.
So thank you.
And the only thing that I said are kind of high level support comments about it. So we'll definitely try to put some specifics about it. So, yes, sir.
Yeah, Clay, I don't have a question, but I just wanted to ask you, how are you doing on time?
I'm good right now. I got a couple more questions. I'll take a couple more. So, yeah, thank you. Yes, sir.
In the election, vote total was about 69% of all Republicans, and whatever the difference was for Mr. Harris. Two-part question, if I would, please. Have you had conversations with all the Republicans, so-called Republicans, that were in the election, and have you gotten commitment from them to encourage their voters to support you? That's one part. And are there any polling numbers that you can share of what the situation appears to be right now? If you have somebody traveling with you, I need to have a word with them before y'all leave.
Yes, sir. So there's Jackson in the terrible Auburn hat back there. So, I don't know, but really trust him. So he'll be a good person to talk to on any sort of information. Right now, to be honest, the election that we're in heading into April 7th, it should be 60-40 at the lowest. But that's going to depend on people being focused and turning out the vote.
That's right.
So the victory is there, but again, we just in Georgia 14, we've gotten complacent before. We just can't get complacent again. We're just making sure that people need to have a plan on either voting early this next week or being there to vote on April 7th. But the victory is there for us to take. The other part of it, you're exactly right. This is the time for the Republican Party to heal. We had a hard-fought jungle primary, and I think people are getting an understanding of no one wants a Democrat to win in Georgia 14. But I'm still trying to communicate with other campaigns to get their endorsement and get their support heading into April 7th. then hopefully getting their support heading into May 19th, because I think it's now time, because we had a number of people who said they were Trump Republicans or 100% Trump. And Trump has spoken in this race, and I got 58% of the vote on March 10th. So it's now time for us to all come together and make sure that we're defeating the radical left. I hope it'll happen, but we'll see.
This is not a question, but I just want to tell everybody, we're all social, we get on social. So this is what I'm asking you to do, is get on social. Put a picture up there and put the dates that we're gonna vote. And tell the Republicans to get out. They've got to get out and vote for him, because if we don't, the other might happen, and God forbid that we get him in the 14th district. So use your social media and get it out.
You know, you said that Trump wasn't on the ballot, but really he is, because if the Democrats take the House again, it's gonna be his first term all over again.
You're right. That'll be the impeachment circus. So yeah, you're exactly right. Yes, sir.
And she has never had a problem registered to vote, even though they're in the second marriage, and she liked the thing about it. And you know, we both vote if there's an election.
So we went to Real
Yes,
ID,
sir.
what, 10 years ago? here in Georgia? When you had to take even a bill.
My question is
to get
this,
your job.
and it affects all of us in here, most of us are over 60. Hearing aids. Hearing aids not covered by Medicare. And hearing aids are expensive. And 65, that's the last time that was changed in Medicare, when Medicare was invented, as far as the cost of hearing aids. Hearing aids are $5,000 a piece. A lot of us are on fixed income. Medicare's not covering that. That should be covered by the Health Administration. Because that's really, increases our ability in life. We can't hear.
Yeah.
We go back because, you know, you can't be somewhere. So, you know, without yeah, I can come up with $5,000 to pay for a hearing aid, but in my insurance would pay me half of it back. But how is that fair to me? I mean, hearing aids are important, and that should be something that's covered by the Health Administration.
And I don't know the specific reason why they aren't. So as soon as I'm in, I know Jackson heard it, we'll take that question down, and I'll get the answer, and if there's a way that we can fix it and get it covered. I agree with you. It's something that should be, and it's one of those nightmare things when government is involved in something. They make random policy choices that make very little sense and negatively impact people. So I'll try to fix it.
And I've done a lot of research on this.
Okay.
And this is neither here nor there, but for it to pay for a man to have
What?
have a
Don't say it.
operation. Yeah. Being have sex, I'm sorry, it'll pay 100% of that, but it won't pay for a hearing aid.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes no sense.
Absolutely.
Bad priorities.
What did you say?
Is this when I say I hear you? I hear you.
To me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I just wanted to answer Larry's question for everybody. I was at a meeting about a week and a half ago, and Jim Cully from Floyd County, you all know him probably. Yeah, Holding, sorry, thank you. He stood up in front of a room full of about 200 people and said, "I'm here because I'm backing Clay Fuller 100%. And it's just, I just felt like crying. That's the kind of politicians we need in America. And on the other hand, I got a phone call yesterday or the day before that people down at the Capitol are hearing one of the people who ran say negative things about you and ask them to vote for Harris.
Yes.
And they were Republicans, supposedly, that person. So,
And so my job now is to sit down with everyone, tell them, hey, look, it was hard fought. Let's all unite, because there are too many more important things than any sort of personal differences that we may have had. And we'll get there. I have faith that we'll get there. So yeah, because everybody on our side, they're good people. And you work hard in a campaign, you care about a candidate. I get it. I totally understand. So we'll get on side. Yes, ma'am.
Good.
In response to the young lady back here,
when you make your video to tell about women can vote, the Real ID, when that first started coming out on the news, I investigated what's a Real ID, and I had gone recently and got my driver's license renewed, and it turns out that it has the little star that is a Real ID, and that's all you need to have, so add that.
Yeah.
That's just what you get if you have proven who you are.
Hey, Georgia
And
went to
then
one
I
time.
wanted to say that Jim was my guy, okay?
Oh, yeah.
And he came out immediately and endorsed you, so I thought that was
And
awesome.
Pam Cash in Floyd Peters, Pam Flush, you
Yeah.
know, she came out the next
Yeah.
day and she's got people waving signs
Yeah.
with you and doing all good
And
So
stuff.
did Gina Terms.
Yeah, there are a number
Yeah.
of candidates that were in the race and they've been incredible.
I wanted to add something else. At the Capitol, they're hearing that people are calling and saying, vote for Harris. Because in a few months, they'll have seen how bad he is versus
Right.
whoever. But yeah, so we need to make sure that our friends and neighbors know the truth,
Yes.
always know the truth.
And get out the vote.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
I'm a Christian. I think most people in this district are Christians. A lot of people are driven by that faith. A lot of people are very passionate about seeing that faith come back in education, religious freedom, and what that stems from, you know, that federal level. I would like to know your opinion on, school choice for all, and incentivizing churches, not only, you know, small private schools, but also churches, to start having their own schools, you know, join in the community and do that. In my opinion, the public education system is probably never gonna happen. But there's a lot of other ways to get, Christianity back in front of our youth. And if we don't, we may never. And I think that's why you see the mass exodus out of a lot of public schools, but I would like your opinion on that.
Yeah, first off, I think every institution that we have should be Christ-centered. And that's been my campaign. The first thing that I said on March 10th, I said Christ is king. That should be every conversation that we should be having, every public institution that should be where we are. There's kind of this false notion where the left has misused this term of separation of church and state. That was never what it was intended to mean. And I think Christ should be a part of our public institutions, whether it's schools. You know, I support having the 10 Commandments in our courtrooms, at our courthouses. I support prayer at public sporting events. It needs to be a major part of everything that we do. It should be because some of the kids in our public schools, that may be the only introduction that they get to this. So I want to make sure that it is a part of it. And the other part for school choice, so I've been endorsed by the Club for Growth. That's an organization that has really led the school choice movement. I fully support it. And one of the things that I will hope to do, I know it's going to be a difficult task, the federal Department of Education, I want to see it just completely destroyed. I want to take the billions of dollars that we spend on the Department of Education with, you know, 6-figure PhDs in DC who do nothing to improve our education, block grant that money back to the states, because the best education system that we can have is going to be in the home. The parent is the one that controls our education. They need to be able to have that choice, and y'all need to control education from a local standpoint. So I want to empower school choice and making sure that local communities have that ability to define the education system that they want. Yeah.
All right,
All right. Thank you so much, y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We will have more questions.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Watch those cords.
Bye.
Rick Crawford is here and he wants to tell us about the homestead tax thing. I'm gonna let him talk. Thank you so much, Rick.
First of all, if I might, just make a very quick announcement back to your point. Have you heard of LifeWise Academy? LifeWise Academy is functioning right here in Polk County right now. My wife is program director. We are in all 6 elementary schools. We're up to about 130 students now that are taken every week for a Bible lesson during school hours. That's the way to do it. We don't need government to do it. We need to do it.
Amen.
There's a program coming up, end of the year program for LifeWise out of Victory Baptist Church on Thursday, April the 23rd, 6 p.m. I can get you that. Where did we go? Sheila. Get you that information, so maybe we can get an email out. Come find out about LifeWise. That's what we do. It's already happening right now during school hours in public schools. Secondly, homestead exemption. I spoke at the county convention about a year ago about legislation that I did when I was in the legislature that provides for an additional homestead exemption if the assessed value of your home is raised to a value that's more than 110% of the prior year value. We talked about that. Some people went and applied, and basically nothing is going to get done. This is where we are. And nothing's going to get done until we make it get done. We got an election coming up. I'm glad to see some of my commission friends in here. Folks, I love you, and I'm just going to tell you where I am. I'm done. I'm fed up with a runaround. This needs to be honored. There's 2 commission meetings before the primary. Make it happen. Make it happen. Or replace them with those who will. That's where I am. The current commissioners can do it, or their replacements can. We discussed the lawsuit. I'm not in favor of that, and I'll tell you why. Because it's just going to invite the county to spend thousands of our tax dollars trying to keep us from getting a tax break that we're supposed to get. And there's a quicker, there's a more direct way, and that's just say, if you current commissioners make it happen or be replaced by somebody who will, that's where we are. So, I don't make endorsements. I've never done that. I'm not going to start now. But from my perspective, this needs to be a litmus test. It's a litmus test. Don't elect anybody who will not commit to making this happen. If they won't, replace them. And if that's not enough, we can recall the rest. We have that option available to us in Georgia.
Yes.
We can just replace the commissioners with those who will do it. And that's where we are. So I urge you to be aware of this, just like you're spreading the word on everything else, spread the word on this too. This should be an absolute requirement of anybody who wants to be a county commissioner in this county. Make it happen. If the current ones want to stay in office, they've got 2 months. They've got April meeting and May meeting to do it. After that's the primary. So I'm done. I'm DONE done. I've tried for 1.5 years to have reasonable conversations, and they're not happening. There's no interest in a reasonable conversation. And I know, well, folks, let's just be honest. It's about the money. It's about the money. The county got a massive backdoor tax increase at our expense. Now, you know all about that a few years back, and they don't want to lose that money. That's where it is. This is not about controlling them. They still control the millage rate. They can determine the amount of taxes because they control the millage rate. It's just about being honest about your tax increases. That's what this does. That's what the legislation does. It makes officials be honest about the tax increases and don't let them hide behind the backdoor tax increase. So that's where we are. Nothing's going to happen until we make it happen. So let's make it happen. I won't take any more time. But I will be here. If you have a question about the things I mentioned, I'm happy to talk to you.
Would you define the backdoor tax increase?
Backdoor tax increase is your tax bill goes up not because the millage rate was increased, but because the value of the property was increased.
Yeah.
And so what they say is, we didn't do that. We don't control the value. That's true. They don't control the value. The assessors control the value, but they control the millage rate. They can cut the millage rate anytime they want to get rid of the backdoor tax increase. They've chosen not to do this. And so I'm done. I'm DONE done. Either get it done or be replaced by those who will. That's where I am. Okay. Hopefully you're there with me.
Gotcha.
I'd appreciate it. We get the word out. I won't take any more time, Lee. I said I'd be brief. I try to be brief.
Way to go, Rick.
You know how to get stuff with me.
Thank you for keeping us informed with that. We definitely need to get that word out, and we know what we need to do, right? So, since we have, I don't know if, our elected officials, if you would like to say a word today, you certainly can, Mr. David.
Thank you, Lee. I'm David McWee, and I am a Polk County Commissioner, currently sitting for District 1, really kind of common North Cedartown area, North Polk County area. And let me tell you this, I'm a Christian conservative. I'm a veteran who fought in Afghanistan, in the Army for 24 years. Before I started jumping out of airplanes, I was as tall as Clay Fuller. And I've got experience at the, leadership experience at the federal, state, and local levels. Good story right quick. Lee Birch and I worked together on the governor's drug task force in the 90s and put a lot of drug dealers in jail back then, which was really good for not just the state of Georgia, but our communities too. So let me say this, I want government to be effective, I want it to be efficient, and I want it to be affordable. I'm for transparency and I'm for accountability. I want to do what we can do to expand the tax base. Not through raising the millage rate, but through switching over from more of a property tax, switching over to a retail tax, sales tax, right? I think that's the most fair way to go about it. And I think if we do things like that, getting things into Polk County, you know, I know that the tax allocation district over in Cedartown that they're looking at is a
Bad idea.
I think it's a good idea. Just one, right? You're looking at $30 million of sales tax coming in. I understand, you know, when you're talking about the $10 million going to the development, you know, supposedly for infrastructure or for site improvements or site building the site up. But currently on that property right now, we get a little over $600 a year in property tax, $600 a year in property tax. We get absolutely zero sales tax off of it, right? Yeah. But if we bring a development, and it's Publix, not just Publix, but Publix, Ross, Marshalls, we're getting a lot of sales tax off of that. So I think it's a good thing. And again, it's expanding the tax base. If you're looking at getting $30 million, and that's the low end, it could be 45 million, it could be $60 million that we get. The developer's saying 60 million. I don't know where to go with that number. He calls that conservative. I don't know if it is or not, but what I do know is we get absolutely zero sales tax on that. That's why I kind of support the tab, and I've gone back and forth because, you know, some of our other fellow commissioners, they've got a more principled stance on giving money to a developer. I understand that. I've gone back and forth myself on, you know. And
How did you bring that up?
I know, because I think it's a good idea.
I don't.
I understand that.
Fine. Okay, I'll explain
And
that.
I understand. Again, there's a principal side to it, and I understand that, but there's also a principal side to not getting that sales tax in, giving the relief to the taxpayer, the property taxpayer. So I think that's one way to look at it. Again, I'm David McElwee, and I hope that you can support me. One other thing I want to say is Thursday night in Cedartown, and I hope you're there, Lynn, I hope you're there, Lee too. Thursday night at the Langford Center. This Thursday night, I'm hosting a Get Out the Red Vote social event. So it's really to try to support Clay and make sure that we're motivated as a county. One thing I'd like to see as far as Polk County, for us to have the highest voting percentage in the 14th district. If we can do that, if we can do that, that draws a lot of political leverage our way, right? So let's try to do that. Everybody that you know, whether they're a Democrat or a Republican or whatever the case is, do your best to get them to go vote this week. And if they don't vote this coming week, vote Tuesday and vote for Clay Fuller. Okay? Thanks a lot.
I mean, for event.
That's gonna be 5 o'clock to 9 o'clock.
And then
5 o'clock to 9.
Linda Lyles is here. We're gonna give her a moment to say something brief.
Kind of rebuttal. One thing I'd like to say is, with the commission, we all, you know, we might disagree, but we don't become disagreeable. And I'll say that. I am against the TAD, and let me tell you why. It's gonna reflect, they're not taking property tax from you guys. What they're doing is the developer came about a year ago and said, David, I don't know where you're at on it. I can't remember where you said you were at on it, but anyway, he came in and he said, we're gonna do a TAD for 40 million. Well, he came back and said, it was too low. So he's asking for 50 million now, and, the $10.9 million, he has frozen, the city has frozen Home Depot, let's see who else, Chick-fil-A, all of those offices, all those businesses and pulled it into the TAD. And they froze the property tax on those. And for 20 years, there's an increments over 20 years where they're gonna pull, the city's pulling that money into this $10.9 million bond. I'm against it because I know what it's gonna do. The county can afford it. I can tell you, I don't know why the school board voted for it. Most of them didn't. There was 3 to 2, something, but they voted for it. I know what's gonna happen. We're gonna have to go up on our millage rate. There's no doubt over 20 years. We can't sustain this. So it was, most of the commissioners were against it. But that's why I'm against it. I'm not against the TAD. I'm not against businesses. It is retail. I'm a little, you can't, if you go in Publix and buy groceries, you're taking away from Walmart's sales tax and all these other stores sales tax.
And the independent farmers
And
down the street.
And the independent, yes, you're taking away from them.
Gonna put them out of business.
And that's what I'm saying. And so I wanted you to understand that. Now, I'm running this time. This is my last term. I said when I became a commissioner that I would run 2 terms and 2 terms only. So this was my full term. I was appointed. And I have really enjoyed it. We've done a lot of good things together. And, we'll disagree on this, but I don't want to see it come back and hurt our citizens. And have them pay more property tax because of the city and because of this developer. I don't believe that we should pay a developer that lives in Peachtree City who is pretty well off to come in here, give him money to build his TAD, to build this
Amen.
Publix and all. I just don't believe that. So that's where I stand. And I've always said I'll be very transparent with you on everything I do. So I did want to let you know. Any questions?
What's
Yes.
going in right there, the Home Depot area,
Home Depot?
that new development right there?
I don't know. They've already, it's a, what is that? It's a Jiffy Lube.
Oh, Lord.
How many do they have?
It-
But anyway,
My opinion on property tax and consumption tax, and property tax has been so abused for so long. So many people are so tired of getting just hammered with property tax. Having to assess it every year and up people's property tax. You can go back to any kind of laws and, look, income taxes are on too, we get into that later, but property tax constantly increasing, not based on the purchase of your home, but based on an assessment. Everything about
Exactly.
everything about it is wrong.
exactly.
Property tax in general is wrong. You have to raise that money, in my opinion, you try to find funds anywhere else you can.
Well, and we have, and I want to tell you, because of the assessments, and you hit that right on the nail on the head right there. Because back in 2019, our assessors did not do their job. The state came down and penalized Polk County. And it was pretty, I don't know how much it was, but it was pretty stiff. So they have been trying to get their assessments back up. We have rolled back, the county has rolled back our millage to the point that we're taking from our surplus. We can't do that anymore. And because, we rolled back to, what was the lowest amount? I think it was 6.5. And we've rolled back every year, but this year we couldn't do it because we're taking from surplus. And I know you don't want to do that. If you keep taking from your, if you've got one, savings, you'll take and you don't have any savings anymore. The county can't do that.
That's what I had to do for my property taxes,
Yeah,
because they
It's
tripled.
a constant new funding
So
of
we've
new
had to do it.
projects and new buildings.
that's what we're working at.
Instead of having it funded by new development and new residents, it's being funded by old residents and old development.
Right.
And that, in my opinion, is a horrible wrong. It's immoral towards the populace of this county.
So where does the money come from if we don't make the concession to
You mean if we do
give the
not,
freebie to the developer? that
where's the money
property-
coming from?
that Property still just be.
The money will come from, that will be released, it's frozen right now. But that will be released and we will get our property tax like we're supposed to from those
So
businesses.
you're saying that's if they still came, if they came without us passing the tab, if they came and did the development anyway.
Right, I've said that all along they're going to, they've already come back with us with 2 proposals. And, I don't think they're gonna be.
Outside tab, they are still.
And it shows us that he does not need this $10.9 million.
Well, I'm not thinking that.
Yeah,
because I was under the assumption that they were only coming if we would do the TAD, and so my thought process was I'd rather give up that 20 years of tax money for the sake of getting all of that sales tax, but if there's a
I've always-
possibility for them to be here without the TAD, then obviously I.
Well, I've always said the sales tax is inflated because they did not take apples for apples. In other words, they did not take a county like Polk County and on the sales tax from a Publix. They didn't do that. They took it across the board. And I mean, they're saying people are gonna come from way over in Alabama to shop at our Publix. I don't believe that. I'm here. I thought that Publix is a high-end grocery store. I like it. But I don't shop there. If I go to the BOGOs and maybe they're deli. And that's
Can I
about,
make one last point?
go ahead.
I just want to know, when did government get in the business of picking winners and losers? Every time you pick a winner, somebody loses. So, you want to spend all this tax money to bring Publix in. Well, what about your little independent pharmacist down the street? He's out, he's gone. And he's been here his whole life. He's been working hard. But the commissioners got together and said, we want a Publix. Why are we picking winners and losers? What the hell? This should make people mad.
Yeah.
I want some kind of money to come in because my property taxes continue to rise, my grandfather's.
They're not gonna lower your
property
property
taxes
taxes.
And our school
They won't do
system
that.
is due to, in my opinion,
They're not
a
gonna
fiscal
take-
lack
yeah.
of leadership for the last 5-6 years. Our school system is.
I don't see how they're gonna float that. I don't see how the school system's gonna float not getting that they voted on the TAD, so I don't
They've
see how
never
they can do it.
Decreased the tax.
To really be mindful,
So-
it seems as though all of you are.
That's hopes and wishes.
I've really worked on that as far as all of our
Money's
commissioners.
running out, all that COVID money's running out for the school system now, and I don't think that they are quite as public about how in crisis our school system's money situation is, and I have 2 kids in the school system, I've got another one going in next year. I also am a property owner, and while pie in the sky would say, oh, I'll fund whatever it takes for our kids, I also am like, I might not want to be a Polk County property owner if my kids are not really getting everything they deserve, and I'm still being taxed raised, and there's so many people that are getting everything for free, like the older I get,
You're just
the more I see it.
I understand because I
taxes
like
the elderly had to all the years.
We're getting carried away.
I know, I don't have to say something.
Getting out of control.
I'm from Cherokee County. I lived there for years. I watched the exact same thing happen over there. Cheap property, people come in and buy homes. They promise, millage rate's gonna go down. The property values skyrocket.
Yep.
Yours are about to do that too.
They already have.
Sky-
Yeah,
Your taxes-
mine tripled. Mine's
I
tripled.
don't care if they lower the millage rate. They're not going down.
Continuing to double every year.
But when the development starts coming, you can't stop it. And I know commissioners, I was in a group called Preserve Cherokee for years. And we couldn't stop them. There was none of them. They went into lawsuits. They went to the state. It didn't matter. The developers won every time. You could negotiate with them. You could not give them money. You could do other things, but you can't stop them.
Well, I hope you understand that I'm not against the TAD. I'm not against economic development. I just don't want to give our property tax from our county that is needed to this developer, when the developer himself could come in and pay for it and do it himself.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, I
Yeah, they
do
don't
feel
provide
like
your
that
land to
maybe we
build your
could help
house.
him. There's a
You know?
road that's gonna go through this TAD. I'd like to see the county pave that road, have a nice road through the TAD. I believe the TAD's gonna be done without our property tax. And-
Yeah, I have no opinion on the tab all. My point is that when the development comes, if you're trying to preserve your county in any way possible, and you do want to preserve your family land, the development's not gonna help. I know everybody looks at money and they think, oh, we're gonna get the money and we're gonna get the taxes.
I don't look at money.
Ma'am, I'm not talking about you. It's okay. I'm just talking about it in general.
Yeah, I don't
And,
look at money.
that's how we're gonna pay for things. The development's not the way, because I promise you, and I've watched it happen in Forsyth County, Cherokee County, and Dawson County. And I got a buddy that's commissioner in both counties. I still talk to them all the time, and it is, oof.
Are you living here in Polk County?
Yes, ma'am, been here 3 years.
Okay, well, we appreciate you coming.
If you wanna look at taxes,
Yeah,
if you wanna look at taxes, look at the school board budget.
yeah, yeah. So Larry, thank you. Yeah. I do have, I pay taxes. I have a 30-acre farm, so and it hurts, I tell you, I know that.
I pay
So-
$36,000 tax.
Oh, my goodness.
So you got a lot.
36.
Farm up the road.
I wanna go see his farm.
I would like to see your farm. Would love to see
We have-
that. 36,000?
Open
He's
it
got
up
it.
tomorrow because we want to open it up to people in both counties.
Have you got venue
Won't
there?
share the gospel
Do
there.
you have a venue there?
Yes, ma'am.
That's it, okay.
Yes, ma'am, I could get an increase for my venue.
Oh, wait a minute, what's the name of it?
Blueberry Farm.
Yeah, the reason why you couldn't get it, because you have to have a single,
Okay.
you have to have a single road to that venue. You cannot have a road to your house and then go off to the venue. I remember that.
Easement is.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you. Yay.
One thing about that whole situation, I would like it if we, people who live here and we've been residents forever, want to do something with our property, I would like to be able to do stuff with our property. Because the developers always do get to come in and do what they want to do eventually. And I, for one, have tried to open up 2 different things on my property that I just purchased. I'm on the 4th year now and I've been denied every bit of it. So I would like to see that change.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, we have one person here that's running for office and I want to give you at least 2 minutes to come up here and introduce yourself.
Let's go, Lee.
Lee Birch.
Thank you. Well, this is my first time in political office. Born and raised here in Rockmore. Grew up in Bamford as a child. I remember when we only had 2-lane roads around here. And I've said from the very start, I think what really compelled me to want to try to run for a political office is what's going on as some of these issues that we're talking about now. The property taxes. Mine has raised significantly. I've been in my same home for 45 years. My wife and I have been there forever. I've been married 41 years. My wife is Kay Birch. I have 2 children. I'd like to have my grandchildren be able to stay here with some opportunities. Property taxes has got to be controlled. I said when I first ran that, we only had 2-lane roads in and out of Rockmore. Now that we got 4-lane roads. 4-lane roads has brought the potential growth that's going to hit us. I mean, we're right outside of Atlanta. We're not that far from Chattanooga. We're close by to Birmingham, but there's a way, I think, to try to control things, manage it. And that's my platform. We can't stop it, but homeowners shouldn't bear all the burden of taxes.
Right. That's exactly
And
right.
we've got to control, we got to bring some tax base in here to help us homeowners. And that's why I'm running. I want to try to get in there and do something. So I appreciate your vote and I'm open for any questions if you want to contact me in any way. Yes, sir.
What district are you in?
District 3.
Okay, now,
Right.
but now, my understanding is that it's a countywide
Yes, sir, it is.
vote. I'd like to see only the people that live in your district be able to vote for you, not people in Cedartown or area.
Well, the other side of that coin, sir, is that if I'm making decisions for the county, I mean, I want the people of the entire county. If I make poor decisions, if I'm well known and well liked just right here in my community, but I'm making poor decisions for the county, I would prefer to have the Cedartown people of Fish Creek,
Don't
Lake.
they have a representative?
Yeah, we want you to stick it to them.
That's what.
They have their own representative. I mean, even if I were not running, it's like the school board. So the school board can only vote for their members in their district. But on the county side, I would really like to see the school board have to run countywide as well, just like we do.
Yeah,
So
I really agree with this gentleman, and I've seen it in many other counties, because especially in the future, you'll have many subdivisions that are representing a certain district. It is really, really good to have a commissioner that represents his people, where he lives, and he is among them. And that, if you're representing the entire county, you're representing several different groups and types of people with different interests. Even though you have the interest of the county as a whole in mind, every commissioner has that anyway. But you're representing those people in only that district.
If all the people in Cedartown want to vote against you.
They could vote me out.
Your district's not gonna be represented.
And that's terrible, because there's a bunch of rascals down
They
there.
can
No, I'm
vote,
kidding.
that's right. And, you know, I don't know what it would take to change that, you know, I don't.
I'd like to see a commission chairman be full time instead of,
No, ma'am.
you know, not
Other
being able to
counties
get
vote
touch
are
with
different.
Yeah, but it has to be changed.
It has to be.
You have to be changed at the state house.
Yeah.
That probably,
It
yeah.
has to be changed through.
But anyhow, that's my.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Lee.
Thank you.
All right,
so
thank you,
much.
Lee. Good job.
Thank you. Okay, well, it seems like we have a lot to talk about, so let's have another gathering here before long, and maybe we'll have something during the week.
Yeah, don't forget my gathering over
Yeah.
at the Lakeview Center Thursday.
Is that like a drop-in thing, or is that like a?
Anybody wants to come?
Like, is
Anybody
it
wants to come?
4
You know where that is?
Yeah, just drop in.
No, but I
Yeah,
got
drop
to
in
go.
anytime, 5 o'clock tonight. Okay, we're probably,
We're going.
Clay's gonna be in an event in, I think Walker County or somewhere like that. But we'll probably get a FaceTime call from them and have them projected.
Well, I'm having an event right here in Rockmart on April the 9th. It's at the Black Mountain Coffee. And it's free coffee. It's been Lincoln Bean Insurance is sponsoring that. So anybody that wants to come, and I'd love for you to come, and we'll talk about the issues. You know me, I'll talk to you about them. I will. So come and,
April 9th, that was time?
oh, she's coming to tell them.
Linda, what time is yours?
It starts at 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So just come by and have some coffee with me and we'll discuss the issues. I'm transparent, I've always
Yeah.
been, and you know where I stand.
Get to meet playful and.
So that's at the Black Mountain Coffee Shop.
Thank y'all so much for coming today. I appreciate you being here.
Yay.
Thank you, Jeff Kelly and Barbie Kelly for having this video going. We appreciate it.